Hey, folks, welcome back to the Land Fixer Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Logan Swanson, where we talk all things land. We have an exciting guest today, old friend of mine, Alicia Jarrett. Say hi to everybody.
Hey everyone, it's so good to be here, Logan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. You can call her AJ. That's how she likes to be called. And she's coming from the United States today, but you're not a United States native, correct?
Correct. For those listening, let's see if anyone can guess where it's from because I get all combinations. People are like, are you from the UK? Are you from New Zealand? But no, I'm Australian.
Awesome. Well, before we get into it, folks, reminder, if you need to sell your land, go to primelandexchange.com. Or if you're looking to buy land, go to primelandexchange.com. We help people sell their properties and we buy properties. So reach out to us. We can help you. We also have a ton of listed properties at wholesale value, below market value, and they move quick right now. They're really picking up since the election's over.
Yes, I'm so
Um,
happy to hear that, aren't you?
oh my God, yeah. Also, if you need funding for any of your land deals, developments, as long as they're all flat developments, we don't go vertical, go to landpartnerfunding.com. We can help you there. We are wrapping up some of our bigger projects right now, so we need some new ones coming in. All right, that's my stuff. AJ, how would you tell us first a little bit about your company kind of at the top here, but then give us a little bit of backstory about how you got into where you are, and then,
Yeah,
yeah, all that.
fantastic, Logan. Thanks so much for having me on. For those that need any help, Logan's just talked about getting properties bought and sold, which is wonderful. I love what Prime Land Exchange is all about. We at Supercharged Offers do all of your acquisitions marketing for you. So Supercharged Offers has been going now for just over 5 years, and we specialize with helping real estate investors, realtors, brokers, pretty much anyone attached to real estate to do all of their acquisitions for them. So their data, their direct mail, cold calling, appointment setting, digital marketing, all of it. So go to superchargedoffers.com and check us out. And you can check us out on Facebook as well. Would love to talk to anyone about their strategy, what they're looking to do for next year, whether that's vacant land, single family, commercial, you name it, we do it all. So yeah, that's a little plug about who we are and what we do. In terms of my background and how I got here and how I'm an Aussie sitting here in Phoenix, Arizona, doing business in the States. So pretty much it's a long story, Logan, but let me give you the high level version. So as you know, we've been doing vacant land now for like 8 or 9 years, which is great. We actually started, I say we, my business partner Matt and I, we started fixing and flipping houses in Jacksonville, Florida. That was in 2016, 17. Like, goodness me, it's going back
From
quite a while
Australia,
now.
right?
From Australia, yeah. And we were on a call yesterday with someone that we were talking about those days. And I say those days because it feels like such a long time ago. But we were project managing from the other side of the world, and we took some vacations in that time, and we did deals from and project managed from the ski slopes in France, and then we project managed from a boat in Croatia. It was kind of cool. It really proved to ourselves even back then that this business, as long as you've got a laptop and a phone, you can pretty much do business from anywhere. So we started doing that. Then we found vacant land, left the fix and flip world behind, and been doing vacant land ever since. And the reason why we started Supercharged Offers is just like you with Prime Land, right? We saw a need out there in the marketplace where real estate investors were trying to do everything themselves and just getting overwhelmed with the amount of activities that it takes to keep these businesses going. And we ourselves, at that time before we started Supercharged Offers, Logan, we were going to like 6 or 7 different companies just to get our acquisitions activities all done. One company
Whoa.
for our data, another
But
company for our
AJ,
cold call.
I
I know.
have I have done a guru course, and all the guru courses say all you do is send a few pieces of mail for 10, 15 cents on the dollar and you'll buy a ton of properties, right? Is
Nope.
it
Those
that's
days are
not the
gone.
current state? What is it like right now?
That is not the current state. And this whole pennies on the dollar approach, that worked many years ago when we first started, but it is not that now. These days, if I put it back to when we started to these days, when we started, 90% of the people we were talking to with properties were super old. Direct mail was the way to get a hold of them, and most of them called you back and told them their life story about the property.
Yes.
But these days, we're dealing with anyone in their 20s and 30s that maybe inherited property,
Hmm.
30s and 40s where they might have bought property to build a house on, and now they've gone through a divorce or something's happened, all the way up to their 80s and 90s, where it's intergenerational land that they've had in the family for decades. So these days, when it comes to marketing, you've really got to think about all the different ways that you're having conversations and reaching out to different property owners, because we're dealing with the general public. It's not now just one type of person.
Yeah, and your service, you're going really above and beyond. We do direct mail. We still kind of do direct mail, but I know a lot of these successful investors right now are either doing some sort of multi-touch system where
Yep.
they're sending a letter and then they're texting and then they're cold calling and then they're sending a postcard. And like I've heard of people who have like 5-step systems, which
Yep.
honestly, it's for a while made me just kind of throw in the towel on that level, that sort of acquisitions. I'm like, I don't, like you were saying, I don't have the bandwidth to compete with that. So we're like, that's when we moved into the funding. Like, all right, folks, you guys go all to do all the acquisitions and bring us the deals, and we'll make
Yeah.
less per deal, but we can deploy more capital and things like that. But it is interesting now that I do a lot more of the funding. Some of the deals we pushed through, I'm like, dang, like that flipper made a killing on the deal that we funded.
Yeah.
Like we had a deal a couple months back. Some guy, not some guy, I'll keep anonymous, but a good investor brought us a deal, and it was in Ohio, and it didn't really make sense. And I gave him some advice. He went back, renegotiated, yada yada yada. Finally, he gets it under contract at a price we can fund, and I'm thinking like, this is kind of a funny deal in Ohio. Like this probably isn't going to move quick, but whatever. We agree. We funded it. That thing went at above asking in less than a week, and we had it on a fixed rate, so we made a fine return. I'm not complaining at our return, but this guy walked
Yep.
with 100 grand off of this one flip.
Awesome.
So like those deals are still out there. So then I'll
They're
get like
still
a
out
little
there.
jealous. I'm like, I need to start flipping it.
Yeah, I know, right? They're definitely still out there. And
Yeah.
the thing that I talk about these days is we are in a different market. Markets always go in cycles. It goes typically over a 7 to 8 year cycle. We're in the bottom of a seller's cycle at the moment. So there's a lot more negotiation that people need to do. They need to do more marketing. It's not an easy acquisition process at this point. But the other thing I always talk about is persistence and patience. These days you've got to do a lot more follow-up, negotiation, get out your first offers, nurture, get out your second offers, nurture again, get out your third offers, like keep that conversation going. And I was actually on a call yesterday with Mason McDonald and Dan Habercost, and we were talking. It was actually, I do like a bi-weekly fund my deal call, which I should get you on, Logan.
Hmm.
And on those calls, we talk about what the market's doing. Our customers bring in deals that can be assessed for potential funding, whole range of really fun things that we do there. And I was mentioning to one of them, I said, "Why don't you guys posted a deal recently that made me think about patience and persistence?" Because it was like 10 or 11 months in the making before they even got it under contract. But again, really good deal. So I think these days, if you're a land investor, or for that fact, if you're in real estate at all, you've got to make sure that you're not letting these deals and these conversations go, because sometimes that persistence could be a 6-figure payday, might even be a 5-figure payday, it might even be a 4-figure payday. Who cares? It's money in the door. And so these current times that we're in now that we're post-election, it's great to get back out there and start marketing, but also realize that there is now more of a process in this. You can't just blast out mail and hope for the best. You do need to have a multi-pronged approach, and that's where we specialize.
Yeah, and I think it's really smart to work with a company like yours because, the likelihood if you're a small team, right? So like we at one point grew and had a bigger team and I really didn't like it and we just intentionally shrunk. We let go pretty much everybody. We have a couple of EAs, web
Yep.
developer, things like that. So I know that my comfort level on the size of business I want to manage is set. I don't want to have
Yeah.
another person. I really don't, unless I like literally found, the golden goose or something, but it's just so hard to find. So because of that, I know that I don't have the bandwidth to go do all the services that you offer well by myself. Now,
Yeah.
what I can do is I can get on phone calls with sellers and buyers and manage those relationships, and I can do all that fine. But when it comes down to like actually organizing all the data, setting initial appointments, all that, which you do is very
We
powerful.
do all of that. And yet, to come back to your point, I always say to people, time is money. And so if you're spending your time pulling data, scrubbing it, trying to get your mailers organized, working with a printing team, having to manage 3 VAs who are doing cold calling for you. If you're spending your time managing all that, you're not spending your time on closing a lead into a deal. So the value proposition for our customers is we want your time to be spent on the move the needle activities, which is speaking to sellers, speaking with buyers, getting deals done, running your numbers, making offers, following up, doing that relationship stuff. We pretty much do everything up until that lead gets over to you. So, you just tell us your wish list and your strategy. We'll go and implement with our team. So we manage all the resources and all the project management around all that stuff. All that we want you to do is when a lead comes in, simply just have the conversation, build the relationship, make your offer. Now, we've got some customers, Logan, who have got teams, which is great, but we've also got a lot of solopreneurs that are just them. And
Yeah.
because we're doing all the front end for them, they're just focusing on getting the deal. And then they're putting it on like the likes of your platform or the Land Pilot and getting it sold. And they're just sitting in the middle, collecting the difference. So,
Yeah. And
this
it's,
can be done really smartly and really efficiently when you put your mind to it.
yeah. And that's kind of what it is. You have to you have to be smart about it. And I
Yeah.
think, where I've definitely struggled in the past, I mean, I still do. I still get shiny object syndrome. I'll get like kind of like hyper focused into one part of my business and kind of like this past couple days, I used to have a full-time automator or not full-time, but someone who has got paid regularly to do all the
Yeah.
automations and things in my business. And I can still go back to him at any moment. But for some reason, the past couple days, I was like, okay, I want to figure out this very specific automation. I burned like 4 hours in the past 2 days just working on automations that I could
Yeah,
have paid
right.
someone else $20 to. For some reason, I still do that. So I was not smart in the past couple days. So you can
Probably
always
because
fall
you
back
find it
into it.
fun. Do you find that
Yes.
stuff fun? Yeah.
Yes.
This is the thing as a business owner is I always say to people, sit down first of all when you're really thinking about how you want your business to run and your role in it. Think about the stuff that you enjoy. Um, Number one, because when you're enjoying doing something, you tend to be good at it.
Hmm.
And that also then leads to an outcome or a result. So think about the stuff that you love and the things that are fun. Then think about what your time is worth. So if you're doing activities that are like a $5 or a $10 an hour activity, but you want to be making $20,000, $30,000 per deal, your time is more like $500 an hour, right? If that, like just using some numbers here to kind of throw out some ideas, right? So if you are doing the stuff that you don't enjoy that can be outsourced, that is a lower amount than what your time is worth, outsource it. Now, the thing here though, and this is where I want to really get into the people here that are listening, because we often get people coming to us because we run ads like you as well, Logan. We have people coming to us saying, yeah, I want to make 6 figures next year and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I was like, great. So what's your marketing budget? And they go, oh, I've got $200 a month.
Hmm.
And we're like, $200 a month does not equal 20 or 30,000 a month. Why? Because if there was a business out there that you put $200 in and it paid you 20 or 30,000, everyone would be doing it, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't exist. So the reality is, and I'm watching a really good podcast from someone else in the marketing space with real estate too, and they're like, at a minimum, if you want to make $20,000 a month, you need to have somewhere between 2 to 3,000 a month to put into your business, because that's like an average return, right? Anything less than that, and again, it would be what I would call a unicorn.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reality is, this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a real estate business, and vacant land specifically, because of the timeline around vacant land. Typically, it's a 4 to a 6 month turnaround time, unless you've got one of those deals that we were talking about earlier that just, as soon as you get it advertised, it flies off the radar, which is great. But that's not all deals. A lot of deals, especially when you need the patience and the persistence, maybe it's a deal that's got a probate that you need to work through or a title issue that you need to work
Mm.
through. But so typically with vacant land, you are looking at like a 4 to a 6 month turnaround to get that return on investment. Therefore, as an investor, you got to have a runway of 4 to 6 months of marketing so that you can get your business to the stage that you're starting to regularly close on deals, but your pipeline's also running.
Yeah.
You know,
So I mean, and that equates to, what you kind of have to walk into this business. And I've actually had, so I don't do really much training or coaching anymore, but I do take phone calls with people a lot who are like, what is it like? What is it like getting started in
yeah,
land investing? And yeah, some of them will come to me and be like, hey, I have no money to start. What can I do? And literally you can, but you're literally going to be the cold caller yourself. You would have
yeah,
to go get all the data yourself, cold call everyone yourself, and that will lead, absolutely, in my opinion, will lead to burnout within a week or two or
yep.
something.
Yep. And
Um,
let's be real here, right? A lot of people go, I'll do it myself. if you've never cold called before and you're not good with rejection, you're right. You will be in burnout within a week. It is a tough job.
Yeah, yeah. It's like going and trying to like flirt with go flirt with people for 12 hours or something.
Yeah,
And how many times are you gonna get shot down in that? It's gonna hurt your ego a little bit. So,
it is.
um, but yeah, so when people ask me like what's a realistic budget to get started in the business, right now my answer is somewhere between 20 and 40 grand that you have to anticipate burning in acquisition marketing mostly, but also just maybe a basic structure for,
Yep.
setting up a CRM, sort of managing leads and contacts,
Yep.
a little bit of software. And then even with all that, you have to go partner with someone like myself or some of these other funders to get your first deals funded. So,
Yeah,
would you agree with that? That's roughly kind of
I
what you
would.
say.
Yeah, I'd say on the lower end, like if you were just starting out and you wanted a proof of concept, we've got packages that are like 10,000 over
Oh, wow.
3 months that helps you to get a proof of concept, get leads in the door. We'll do all the marketing for you. We'll set everything up for you. We'll set you up with a website. We'll do all of that so that you can get proof of concept to decide, is this the business for me? And I think that's a really important step, right? Because I don't want someone, unless they're all in and they're ready to go. Yeah, if you've got 20 or 30,000 bucks, let's go. Let's get your business scaling and moving, right? But if you've never done a deal and you're just wanting to try this on for size and see if that works, if you've got $10,000 to put in, we can give you that proof of concept and get some deals out of it too, right? But this business is not for everyone. So I often say to people, start slow and then build up. As you start to build up your confidence, your skill set, the types of deals you're doing, you can start to scale, and we grow with our customers, which I think is really important.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I do know also, so, I have worked with I think we've talked about this. I've worked with other cold calling services, and the results were not great. And really, what was not great was the transparency in what was happening.
Yeah,
And last time I spoke with you, it seems like you have a little bit more transparency into what's going on, sort of
we
behind the
do.
scenes. Can you talk a little bit about, and I think also even a CRM that comes with your service, correct?
A dashboard, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So we also used to use another provider that no transparency, no
Hmm.
reporting, no
Hmm.
recordings, and unfortunately, that company got one of our customers in trouble because they weren't compliant.
Mm.
So when you're doing anything out there, guys, like texting, SMS, cold calling, you have to be compliant. The TCPA will not. They're really cracking down on this stuff now. So we decided to take it in house about 9 months ago, Logan. We were like, first of all, when we want to do cold calling ourselves, we want to have a compliant and transparent process. But our customers deserve that, right? If
Yeah.
they're running a business, they deserve to see how many dials are being made, what are the recordings, all of that. So we have a cold call platform, and we do cold calling, inside sales, lead managers, appointment setters. We do them all. We again, it's a done for you managed side, so you don't need to manage the person or the process or the data. We do that all for you. But what we do, a couple of things we do differently. Number one, we're going to dial your list non-stop based upon the time that we agree to. So if it's a 3 month campaign, that list is going to be dialed non-stop for 3 months. That's going to increase the pickup rate. It's also going to increase the returned call rate. Now, this is something that a lot of other ones don't do. So when you've started
Mm.
to see 4 or 5 missed calls from the same number over the space of a few weeks, not on the same day. We don't want to be harassing,
Yeah.
but people get curious and they're like, who is this person trying to get hold of me? And so sometimes they'll call that number back. So we can also take an incoming call and we'll recognize who it is. We'll triage that lead, get it over to you. So number one, time, not dials. Number two, we can do incoming calls as well. Number three, we're compliant. So all of your data will get put through a do not call and litigators list. And you'll be able to see that data. So you could still send direct mail to those people, but you can't call them and you can't SMS them. And these days, I know people out there um, who literally will be on a do not call or litigators list waiting for someone to not do
Oh,
that and
yeah.
then bait
Yes.
them into, you now owe me money or blackmail them. So it's not a nice experience to go through. So we'll do the DNC scrub and that check. And then we record all the calls as well. So every single call, even if it's warm transferred to you, which we can do, you can then go back and listen to the recording on. And the recording's really important because you get to hear the tonality, what the property owner says and what they don't say. If they're talking about other family members, things like that, that context is really important. But the other thing that's important for me is we're dealing with humans. Our callers are not robots, and it is not an easy job. So we really encourage our customers to give us feedback. What did you love about that call? What do you want to change about the scripting? Full transparency over their campaign, but also the ability to influence their campaign as well. So we are doing things differently. I'm really proud of that. We do it at a really reasonable cost compared to our competitors, and customers are getting deals. They're getting responses. They're getting deals.
Yeah, that's incredible. Do you also offer, because I did texting with another company for a little while as well. Do y'all offer anything like that right now?
We do not do texting, and the reason being is it's still not compliant. I don't care. No one will convince me different because in black and white under the TCPA regulations, to be texted to, you have to opt in. You have to be able to say, yes, you can market to me. Cold calling, it's a regulated industry, which is why they have do not call lists and that as well. But texting is still reasonably unregulated. So yeah, we're not doing any texting. With cold calling though, we're using it on both front end and back end. What do I mean by that? Front end, great to use. Like let's say you've got 5 new counties that you want to test and you want to just get 1,000 per county. Let's see what leads come in, and then that allows you to look at those properties, run your numbers and go, yep, out of those 5 counties, 3 of them got some awesome areas that we want to go deeper in. Let's go. So front end to test and obviously to do appointment setting, cold calling, warm transfers. Back end, we've also got customers using our cold calling team to follow up on offers. So if we're sending out blind offers, range offers, offer 2, offer 3, that sequence we mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
our team is now, when we know that the mail has hit, they're calling and then reaching out and saying, hey, you got an offer from XYZ company. Can I ask if you've read it? What are your thoughts? Do you want to, enter into a negotiation? And then they'll book that person in for an appointment to negotiate on their property. So there's a number of ways that you can use callers to really enhance your business. It doesn't always have to be just a cold call.
Yeah. So how expensive do you think it'd be to just set this up for your own company? Like if you were to not work,
Yeah, right. First of all, you got to have a dialer that works. So it can't just be use my iPhone and make calls, because you will get through 20 calls a day and that won't really result in much, right? So you need to have a dialer that can just keep on dialing for you to speed up your cadence. You need to get your data. You need to then go with the data provider that can put you through a do not call on litigators list. Because let me tell you, that is not for the general public. The only people that can run DNC and litigator checks is people that have what's called a SAN number. That's a specific registered account that you need in order to do those checks legally. That costs money. It's actually
Hmm.
like $15,000 to get a SAN number. It's not cheap. Then yeah, the cost of the data, the follow-ups, getting a CRM. I would say obviously you're not going to go out and get a SAN if you're doing this yourself, but if you were to set this all up yourself, you're still looking at a couple of $1,000 minimum.
And then you're
Um,
the chap doing the dialing.
yeah, you're the
Yeah.
one doing the dialing. We do it for $2,200 a month minimum. That's our base package, upwards from there, and that's everything included. So it's
So,
pretty cost efficient.
do you know anyone that is only doing mail, direct mail still?
Yeah, we've still got some customers doing direct mail, but here's the thing with direct mail. It's it's no longer a spray and pray approach, right? So with direct mail, we've got customers doing very specific mail pieces for what I call market message match. And I talk about market message match a lot when I'm doing podcasting, because gone are the days that you can just do a basic, hey, we want to buy your land and send that out. Um, Neutral letters do still work, but it tends to be a lower response rate. So what we're finding is that we're segmenting the data. Portfolio owners, people that own more than 3 properties, they get a specific mailer. Out of state, out of county owners, or people on that are doing probates, etc., or inherited, they get a specific mailer. Um, Blind offers versus range offers, postcards versus letters. It's creating the right conversation and putting the right message in front of the property owner that's going to increase the likelihood of a callback. And all of those little things make a difference, right? So we do still do direct mail. What I would say to people is these days, at a minimum, and we do this with a lot of customers, we do the cold, so we get all the data, we do the cold calling and appointment setting first. That gives us a chance to assess those areas and understand what areas they want to go deeper into. And then we only mail to those people that didn't pick up the phone. So now what you're doing is you're maximizing your data list, but you're also maximizing your marketing spend because direct mail is expensive.
Yes, much more expensive than making a phone call. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
correct.
I've told the story before, but one time when I was really spraying and praying with mailing, I I sent 22,000. I mailed a whole county, and I used data trees data, which had the and I was doing blind offers, so it was all like a calculation based off the acreage, and that's what my offer would be.
Yep.
And I didn't realize data tree had all of the acreage information off 1 decimal point. So I would, yes. So I sent 22,000 mailers, all with bad information. And then I sat there
Oh,
and cried while I received phone call after phone call of people saying, yeah, you can buy this property for 10 times its value.
oh my goodness, Logan. We've all got the war stories, that's for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, our first, I often joke about this, our very, very first mailing campaign we did for vacant land, we had a typo on our phone number.
Hmm.
So we were, and you probably heard me say this, right? We were a couple of weeks in and we're like, why haven't we got any calls? This is not working. And this is years ago where direct mail always got calls. And then we get a random call from this person going, I think you've stolen my identity, or there's something like I'm getting all these phone calls for this company and I've now worked out it's you guys. And she told us, and we accidentally put her phone number on because one digit was wrong. And so yeah, that whole mailer. So I've been there, done that. Yep.
What a dang nightmare. Well, man, we are burning through the time, and I had a couple questions, but I want to skip to the
Yep.
last one we had talked about. Um, I just had well, Brad DeGraw. I just had a meeting with
Yep.
Brad DeGraw on yesterday or the day before, and he was like, "So, what do you think's the state of the industry next, 2025? What are you doing? What are you doing differently?" And I'm curious, what are your thoughts on acquisitions? I guess the market in general, as far as land investing, but maybe if you want to go broader than that, because I know we're talking more than land, but and then also for acquisition specifically, if you guys are sort of cooking up anything new or exciting for 2025.
Yeah, I love it. Let's start with the market. Now, this is my personal view based upon the what I'm reading and checking in on. So no one should be taking this as actual advice, but here's my view. We just said before, elections over, we're already starting to see consumer confidence go up. And when I say consumer confidence, that's just confidence in general. People are feeling like they can now move on and make decisions because they've kind of got some certainty around a few things. So a couple of things I am noticing. Buyers are starting to make more offers on properties because they can see that interest rates and inflation are going to be normalized and start to pull back if we listen to the news reports around that. Still a huge drive in the US for affordable housing. So I'm
Hmm.
seeing in vacant land a lot of people working with builders and developers and doing rezones on properties to have more density. In a lot of areas now, especially with inflation and interest rates, a lot of people in certain areas are not wanting to build the mega mansions and have a $600,000 property. The market is calling for smaller houses with more density that are more affordable for people. So we're seeing a lot of areas, and there's even a lot of counties, especially in Florida as well, that have already pre-approved certain areas for future increased density.
Hmm.
That's a really interesting topic for me as well. So I'm seeing that 2025 is going to be a really exciting year for vacant land, for home builders, developers, more multifamily going up. There's a need for that as well because it's more affordable for people
Yep.
and people want lower maintenance. Um, Definitely an opportunity for people to sell their properties, and this year especially, MLS recorded the lowest amount of closings it's ever had. So for decades. So we're really in a tight bind where people weren't selling and people weren't buying. So yeah, so to summarize, I think 2025 is going to be a great year. I really encourage people, now it's December, to start planning for 2025, even prepaying for marketing and those services now so you can offset 2024. 2025, supply and demand is going to look great. We've got more demand for affordable housing. More subdivision lots will be in
Hmm.
demand, infill lots for people to build on now that interest rates are coming back down. So it's going to be a really exciting year, Logan.
Oh yeah, we're stoked. We're preparing. We got our whole game plan in place, and part of it's going to involve you for sure. I guess before I know your time's valuable, you got to get out of here. But before you go, where can folks reach out to you if they're just listening?
Yeah, if they're just listening, go to superchargedoffers.com. That's one word, superchargedoffers.com, or check us out on Facebook. There you'll be able to see some really good case studies and testimonials, all of our products from data and calling through to like full-blown fractional marketing team. You can contact us 888-538-5478. Call my team. We'll book you in for an appointment And yeah, let's chat about what you want to do with your business and how we can help you.
100%. Yeah. And I've definitely worked with your clients on the dispo side. And man, I've heard so many great stories. So, folks, check her out. But that'll be it for today. AJ, thank you for your time. Folks, if you need to buy or sell land, go to primelandexchange.com. If you need funding, go to landpartnerfunding.com. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.